But like I said, there's a reason it's called skinny fat and not skinny muscular.
And that's where it makes a big difference is you're not going to be in like a massive surplus. You're not going to be in a massive deficit.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
And this is a Motivation Monday. We're here with some nice coffee, some good energy, filming this earlier than we usually do, which is actually a big boost in motivation because we're morning people. We like getting after it, and we're really excited to get you an incredible episode today. So let's jump right into it with our primary question. And our first question out of the mailbag is, I'm not overweight, but I have very little muscle and noticeable fat around my stomach and chest. Why does my body look soft even though I'm technically at a healthy weight? And how can I change that? I think the term is called skinny fat.
So this is a great question because I know a lot of people are in this exact scenario, and it's actually awesome that we've been able to help so many people with this exact situation. So essentially what a lot of people need to do is just do a body recomposition. So that's essentially where you take off the unwanted fat and you replace it with lean muscle. Now, where it gets tough, obviously, is this is one of the hardest things to do, right? So if I were to just say, hey, I want to help someone lose 20 pounds, just feel better. We're going to get you into a calorie deficit. We're going to make sure that you're doing some cardio, doing some training, and you will get there. Absolutely. Similar to a muscle gain phase where we're focused solely on gaining muscle and strength, we're going to get you into a surplus where you're eating more calories than you're intaking. You're going to gain muscle over time. We'll make sure to monitor how much you're gaining per week and make sure it's not too much fat, all that stuff. It's, in my opinion, an easier process, right? Especially because we've helped over 5,000 people now. But what needs to happen for someone who is skinny fat, essentially where your belly's a little bit bigger than you want it to be and you don't have much muscle or much density, is we need to ask ourselves the priority. So if you were to just be in this situation, what is the thing that is going to make you the most happy? Now, when we have that exact desired outcome, we can monitor the calories, the training volume, the cardio based off of that. But I will say most people in this scenario, giving them a phase where they're trying to gain a little bit more muscle is actually what's going to be best for them. And it is very hard to do two things at once and do them very, very well. So most people, especially kind of skinnier guys who haven't really been training, we start with a phase where we start to increase calories and we get them in a slight surplus or around maintenance. Now, this is going to be very, very important. And one of my biggest things to note is that you should try not to be so focused on having crazy shredded abs, because a lot of people who are skinny fat, they just end up trying to cut a ton. They're like, hey, I'm already kind of skinny. I just want to start to see my abs. And then they just become skinny and they have abs, which is tough, right? You want to be more muscular. You want to have more definition, more tone, and that's going to make a really big difference. But the main thing is just being around maintenance for your calories. And in terms of just like focusing on building more muscle, we're going to have you in slightly a bigger kind of surplus. And then if your main thing is like, hey, I want to cut down a little bit more, we're going to have you in a little bit of a deficit, like a slight one. And that's where it makes a big difference is you're not going to be in like a massive surplus. You're not going to be in a massive deficit. And then the overall training volume is going to be the biggest and most important thing. Making sure that you're pushing yourself, you're strength training, you're not doing too much cardio. This alone is actually what makes the biggest difference in terms of just changing someone who's skinny fat, is just having the most perfect resistance training routine, a good balance of cardio, and that's going to be kind of the gist of it. But everyone's situation is so different, and that's where it's so tough giving an answer like this, is just because when someone sends me a photo, I can see exactly what we need to do. But overall, it's going to come down to hitting enough protein, making sure you're in the gym enough, and then the calorie intake is going to be based off of like what the priority is, and we'll start to kind of move the needle based off of that.
Yeah, that's incredibly well said. And I think there's a reason it's called skinny fat and not skinny muscular. I really love, like, nutrition is one of the biggest things here, because if you have bad nutritional history, maybe you don't eat a ton, but you just are kind of sedentary, inactive, or maybe you drink a lot, or you have weird eating habits and you're not eating good quality food, you will get the skinny fat look, and visceral fats or stomach fat will add up significantly over time. And that can really put you in this weird place. But like I said, there's a reason it's called skinny fat and not skinny muscular. I don't think you've probably ever heard someone be called skinny muscular. And the beauty is you can get away with some nutritional malfeasance, if you will, if you lift really heavy, if you're on a really dedicated, strong training regimen. Because we all know that person, usually a dad, who eats whatever he wants, maybe drinks a lot of beer, but he lifts, and he lifts frequently and heavily. He just kind of like has that build, maybe with a belly, right? But he still looks pretty jacked. So I think that's the difference between skinny fat and that, is It's really important. You can actually rectify a lot of it, especially if you're already a trimmer, by just improving your composition, lifting really heavy, lifting with nutrition, lifting with intention rather, and most importantly, pairing it with really effective nutrition, as Kyle said, and really understanding what lever you want to pull on first and not flip-flopping between the two. Because it's really easy to say, I'm skinny fat, I'm going to shred down, and then one day someone says, man, you're so skinny, you must weigh half of me, and then you get insulted and you start an aggressive bulk, and then you put on more fat, and then someone says, man, you got a big belly, and then you go, I need to cut. So you need to stick to a plan, and you need to be very sure. And we've had some amazing transformations from skinny fat because we've done this so long. It's very clear and obvious to us what we need to do to rectify that. But if you're unsure, it's really important you establish what the best mechanism is for you, set clear defined goals, clear defined timelines, and really stick to executing at that.
Honestly, I'm so glad Josh mentioned the flip flopping because it's funny. I saw reels the other day where someone, and I want to remake this. It was like someone's getting comments of like, "Hey, dude, like you look like you're getting big." Like a nice comment as in gaining muscle, and then in their head they're like, "Oh, I'm getting big," and then they start to cut their calories down. And then someone says, "Hey, dude, you're looking like lean, like kind of skinny-ish," and then they get that comment, and then they start increasing their calories. And so many people go through this, especially with this kind of uncomfortable physique where you have a lot of, I guess you could say, there's a lot of things going on in your mind where you do feel a little bit unconfident of like, you know, how you look. Cause like in a t-shirt, you don't look exactly too muscular. And then shirtless, you also just don't look as great as you want to, right? Because your belly's a little bit bigger. But I can't stress enough how important it is to just get a second look of like what the best plan is. Because when someone sends me a photo and I see like, let's say their belly's out further than it should be or they want it to be, and they haven't exactly put on some muscle, that individual, I might start with a bit of a cleanup phase, kind of going through like a bit of a shred. Okay, let's get rid of this belly fat. Let's lose 15 pounds and then focus on more of a muscle building phase. And then some people who have like a little belly, but like are really skinny and look like they've never lifted, will start with more of a surplus, a muscle gain phase. And then once we get to a certain point, like we may not even need to do a shredding phase, but I can't stress enough how important it is to have the extra phasing, the extra eyes, because most people make the wrong decisions, especially when you're emotionally attached. And because Josh and myself and our team, we've helped, I'd say probably 3,000 plus people in the skinny fat and body recomposition phase. We are looking to essentially just take on 3 of you at a discounted rate. It obviously will be paid, but I guarantee you results. All you have to do is message me skinny fat on Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. We guarantee results. We'd love to help you just feel your best, get rid of that unconfident, feeling that you have whenever you're wearing something or you go shirtless or you're in a bikini or whatever the case is. We guarantee your results. We'd love to help you. I promise you it'll be the greatest thing you ever do.
Yeah, we're here to help and we get guaranteed results, which we're so proud of. We've done this so many times. And I think what's hard about skinny fat is like you're almost there. So people go the wrong direction in their head of saying, I'm going to cut out sugar and that's naturally going to change my belly. But that's just not the way it works. You need to be in a deficit if you want to lose fat. Or they'll say, I'm skinny and I don't want to be too jacked, so I'm going to just go do these basic exercises or these cardio classes where you're not actually going to get that composition to actually put on muscle and have a better look to your physique, to have that rounding and shape of your actual physique. So these are big considerations, right? And if you put effort in the wrong places, you're going to waste time and you're going to also feel demotivated in the process. And that's where reaching out, getting help is just absolutely everything and can be such a game changer. So we'd love to help you with that and save you from wasting your time. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into our quotes, and I'm going to go in with mine. This is a quote I just came across. I actually had a different quote chosen for this week, but it's what's on my mind, especially with the video I had watched this morning. And that is, act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. And that's by William James. And I think this pairs nicely because I was listening to a speech this morning and it said with the gym, it's really easy. If you go to the gym, you're not going there and you crush it and you look in the mirror, you're going to look exactly the same, right? It's real easy to say that workout did nothing because no change took place. You're going to look exactly the same after that workout. Maybe you'll have a little pump at best, but let's say that pump goes away. It'll feel like it did nothing. But the beauty is if you go and you do that consistently and you show up and you go to that gym over and over and you have days where you miss, but as a whole, you make sure to get in there and you keep showing up, all of a sudden, it's hard to say what day it'll be or when it'll happen, but you'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm muscular. I look good. My physique looks good. And I think it's really easy. And even something that's on my mind right now too is like, if I do this thing, does it even matter? If it doesn't have a big splash or make a big impact, it's really easy to downplay the actual value that small actions or things can do. And I think this is a great reminder to not look past the minutia, to trust the process, to look long term, and to really focus on that. And one thing I really touched on with my clients, another quote I love too, is like, only acting as if only wanting what you want to count and have matter as what matters versus what you don't want to count matters. So I said that horribly, but what I'm getting at is, like, for us, it's real easy to say I've eaten really clean 6 days, so I'm going to be peeled. I probably lost 10 pounds this week, let's say. It sounds ridiculous, but that's what we do in our head. It's 6 good days. The 7th day comes and I have a bad day and I just think, okay, well, it's just one bad day. Can't be a big deal. That's not going to cause any harm, right? So it's pretty ridiculous that we think just because like that longer time, in a perfect world, it makes sense like that, it would undo just having one bad day, but that's not the reality. Everything matters, even the things we don't want to count to matter. Maybe you have a crazy week and it's hard to get to the gym. That will matter, unfortunately, right? Just the same as if you get good workouts in, that'll matter just the same. But don't downplay that, and make sure you're being honest with yourself, because in that one day you could go off the deep end, you could do horrible habits, you could nuke your sleep for the rest of the week. So I think it's really important to entertain that minutia a bit. Try to be smart in those little edges and those little corners and those inches of your journey, because that's where you can see big progress.
Yeah, every single decision makes such a big difference. And it's funny, even on one of our most recent podcasts, someone had asked like, hey, does one trip, like one bad trip, really throw your progress backwards? And to me, it's more so kind of the common theme of like those things that take place. Like even, for example, meals where you have like a cheat day or a cheat meal and stuff like that. Like in the long term, really, it won't truly make like a really big difference because there's so many days, but it's more so kind of like the habits that you create, the mindset that you create around it, and the things that keep happening over and over again. So every decision does really, really make a big difference, even if you don't actually realize it. But one thing, and this is a quote, it's a bit of a big one, so bear with me here, but I think it's so, so powerful. The real reason you're tired all the time, it's not your workload, it's your open loops. The text you haven't answered, the apology you owe, the decision you're avoiding, the conversation you keep postponing. These run in the background of your mind all day, draining your battery. Close your loops. Watch your energy return. Mental clutter is more exhausting than physical work ever will be. So I've never actually heard of, I've always said like, sometimes we're tired because we're not doing enough stuff that inspires us and all that stuff. But I was like, man, this is so true. Like, I think back to some of those moments where I feel my most tired and there's just so many things I need to do. Maybe I haven't answered my text messages or I haven't like planned out the videos I wanted to do. And it's just funny because it's just constantly running in the back of my head. And especially because my brain doesn't stop very often, even if I try to make it. And I just thought that was such a good reminder. Like when you want to do something, like one of the greatest things you can do is just do it. Like if there's an uncomfortable conversation, if there's a person you need to reach out to, if there's a task at work you need to do, whatever it is, if you keep putting it off, it's just going to consistently bother you. You're going to wake up thinking about it. You're going to go to bed thinking about it. And it's just going to consistently drain you because your mind is just constantly thinking, I got to do this thing. And it's just one of the most, like, to me, one of the biggest things that just consistently drain you. So yeah, this is a friendly reminder. And I thought that was a really cool kind of quote mantra that I came across on Instagram the other day.
Awesome. Yeah, now we're going to jump into our thoughts. Do you have anything this week?
The thing I thought about actually was the other day, we're going to be expanding to try different video editors and do different things in terms of like our YouTube and growth and stuff like that. And I just thought about how easy it is like in business to try one thing or like two, maybe like try it twice and then be like, oh, you know what? It didn't work. Let's just go back to what we were doing before. So like, obviously for us, we've done a lot, right? We've done so many podcasts. Like I've done the email for a couple of years now. And it's just so easy, even looking back to when we started the podcast, to be like, oh, well, we uploaded 2 podcasts. Like we're not getting views. Like, may as well quit. But I relate this to the fitness journey so much because the amount of people I know that will start a workout routine and maybe not see immediate change or start a specific type of eating and just be like, oh, well, I had salad 2 nights in a row. I'm not shredded yet. And I know that's kind of an extreme example, but I'm sure so many of you can relate to those moments where you're like, hey, I signed up for this thing and I'm not seeing immediate change. But the truth is, and I heard this from Dave Ramsey the other day, it was kind of like about finance, but he said the best barbecues put together like over the weekend. You like, when you're doing briskets and you're doing other stuff, like it's not like an immediate thing. You're not just putting it in the microwave and it's like, all right, it's good. The best stuff's going to take time. And I love that analogy because most people on their fitness journey are so quick to like stop that thing. And even for us within business and what we do, we give it a rule. We say, hey, by the end of this year, we're going to do weekly uploads. By the end of this point, which is like far in the distance, we're going to give it a shot and see how it goes. And if not, we'll reevaluate. Whereas most people are like, by the end of this week or by the end of this day. And I think that's such a bad mindset to have. I have to keep reminding myself of it, but that's going to be the main thing on the top of my head.
That is a killer quote, and that's a great way of looking at it. Compounding is everything. It's those results over time, just putting in that small action for that consistent effort. But we're going to jump into someone who is struggling in the program, who's killing it now, an incredible transformation to share. So who do we got this week?
So this week we have Yong, and to be honest, like this is one of my favorite transformations. Once again, we've had so many of them. I don't ever like to pinpoint, but the reason is when Yong came to me, he had a vacation. I believe it was around 8 weeks from like when he had first hired us. And he was like, hey, are you up for the challenge? Like, here's where I'm at. So if you're watching, you can see where he's at. Here's where he got to, which is incredible. You also see it on Instagram, but I loved it because he was like, dude, I've got like 20-ish pounds to lose. Like we didn't know the exact number, but like based off of kind of where he was, he wanted abs. And to me, this was a bit of a challenge in terms of just like what we had to do, the approach we had to take. He was also kind of a bit in the skinny fat position where it was just like, like you could tell he kind of lifts, but he doesn't have abs. And like, it was just a bit of an awkward position. And he was just like, this means a lot to me. I'm seeing a lot of family. I want to show them, that I'm in shape and I have what it takes. And, I've done all this great stuff. And I was like, all right, challenge is on. So I love these types of transformations, especially because we did a lot of different stuff throughout our phasing together, right? So it's not just about, hey, I got abs for this specific trip. It's also like, okay, let's have an exit strategy afterwards. Let's have an approach after this specific event where you see family. Let's not just let all this progress and hard work go to waste. So even afterwards, we focused on strength training, like kind of more like powerlifting, heavier lifts. It's just so incredible what he accomplished. And I'm just so proud of this exact transformation. So shout out to Yong. Once again, if you are looking to get results, get guaranteed accountability, the perfect workout plan for you, nutritional support, weekly check-ins, daily text messages, reach out saying skinny fat will get you guaranteed results.
Yeah, don't just let everyone else get the benefits here. I assure you deserve this. If there's something you're struggling with or deep down in your gut, you could be more fit, more healthy, you have more to bring to the table, like let us support you through that. That is our specialty, and we'd love to show you that it really can be easy. It doesn't need to be as hard as you think it is, and you can really reach amazing heights. And I think even this transformation is a great example. It's amazing to see like how high you can fly, if you will, and how far you can go in that journey. It's just about doing that uncomfortable thing and saying, hey, like I'm ready. I'm gonna hire you. You're gonna get in here and you're gonna help call me out on the things maybe that are hard for me to acknowledge. You're gonna realize that maybe you've been working harder than you need to and you could work smarter. So we're here to facilitate that. And once again, hit us up with the keyword skinny fat and we will make that happen for you. But now we're gonna go into our second question, which is, I'm a 39-year-old female, very busy with work and kids. What do you find is the biggest thing that holds someone like me back from seeing change?
So this is a great question. I always say it's a great question, but this alone was one of the questions that had me speechless for a couple of minutes. So recently when I was having an interview with someone who wanted to jump on board and just get results, she's a single mother. She's got a kid. She's very busy with work. Like the main thing is she's also tried a bunch of things and it just hasn't stuck, right? So for this specific scenario, once again, someone who's like close to 40 and just like wanting to see change, she was just really curious, like what to look out for in the journey ahead of her. And I sat there when she asked this question to me, like I kind of paraphrased it, but I just sat there and I was like, give me a second. I'm going to need to think about this because I actually don't fully know the answer. So let me think. And after a little bit of thinking, my main answer was just like, it's going to be your mindset, right? Especially because I had just had like a 45-minute conversation with this individual. She's tried a lot of things. She's failed a lot of times. She was telling me about a trainer that she hired in person who just like gave her not the best workouts that weren't for her. She's tried a lot of different diets. Like a lot of things have like come up and she's tried it. So I was like, listen, like at this point where you're almost 40, you've tried a lot of things, your mind is going to be fighting you. It's going to be to the point where you're going to try things, and what we're about to do, you're going to start to doubt it. You're going to ask yourself if you have what it takes. If you have a bad day, you're going to start to doubt yourself. There's going to be so many things running through your head. And especially if you are someone who's failed many times over, which I'd say most people have, like unless you're at a point where you're really happy with where you're at right now, I'd say most people have failed, right? You've tried something, you've tried keto, you've tried an in-person trainer. Like I was even speaking to someone in the DMs the other day, she's tried about 30 different things and it hasn't stuck. And your mind is just going to be telling you, you know what? It's not for you. You know what? Your metabolism is slowing down. And like you have to really push past those things. And to be honest with you, the biggest thing that's going to help within this is having someone believe in you. Because when you have all these thoughts and you have these doubts and you have these bad days and things are going on and you say, oh, well, I'm busy with kids and like I can't make it work. And then on the other end, you have someone say, you know what? Here's how we can make it work. Whether it's your partner who's positive, usually they're not the best because they won't tell you exactly what you need to hear. But obviously, like really close friends who are on the journey with you, a coach like myself, like Josh, like our team, will tell you exactly what you need to hear and how you need to approach it to help your specific situation. But the truth is, like, I didn't even talk about hormones. I wasn't talking about metabolism. I wasn't talking about all these different things like I think she was expecting. I was like, you know what? It's going to be your mind. It's going to fight you. And that's why we're going to figure this out together. And there will be some ups. There will be some downs. There'll be some bad days where it's your time of the month and we need to figure it out. There's going to be times where you're so busy at work and we can't figure out the situation and we have to do condo workouts. Like that's going to be the biggest thing. And in my personal opinion, the thing you need to look out for, whether you're 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, your mind is going to consistently fight you. And if you don't overcome it, you're never going to succeed.
I love Kyle's point about getting out of your own way. I think that's one of the easiest things to do, like putting it off. And when my kids are older, I'll do it. When the situation's easier, when finances are better. And I think the second biggest mistake is like going about it by yourself. If you have no support network behind you, like you are destined to fail because it's easy to set goals and then no one will know you failed on them. It's easy to have days where you just don't feel it and no one to call you out on that. Like once again, having a network behind you is everything. So whether you have friends that are really fit, family members, like announce those goals, have them hold you accountable, make friends in the gym, or even better yet, like hire us as coaches. Like having a coach on your side, just it's you saying, I'm putting my money where my mind is. Like I'm going to see this through. You know, we have guaranteed results, so you know you're going to get there. It's you making a commitment to yourself and also to your coach, just saying like, I'm going to give this my all. I'm going to show that I'm taking this seriously. I'm going to make this a priority. I'm not going to let obstacles or excuses get in my way. And I can assure you, like any excuse that comes, you can absolutely get through it. And I think also like when there are variables, when there's challenges, when there's a lot going on, like having these good habits in your health and your happiness to like fall back on is like an amazing comfort, right? So I think don't deprive yourself of that by having too much of an ego to say, I need help, I need a trainer, I want to do this right. And what's so awesome is when you learn to do it right, you learn not only all the things you were doing wrong and the mistakes you were making, but you learn like for a path ahead of like how to do it right for the rest of your life. So instead of making those mistakes, those amazing things you learn about lifting, nutrition, balance are going to just carry and compound for the rest of your life. So it's like really making an investment to like put yourself on that trajectory where you're just continuing upward and you just have limitless growth, compared to the opposite where you're just hoping one day and you're probably just getting worse and worse, and it's going to get to a point where you're going to be too embarrassed to even start.
Yeah, and I'd even say like really during these times, especially when you're busy, you have kids, you have everything else, like really trying to prioritize yourself. So I've been talking a lot about this on Instagram, especially, you know, with me carrying my little daughter in my backpack, and like people really liked it, but I was just like, man, I said like you can't pour from an empty glass. Like Josh's quote of you have to put your mask on before helping others. So like I just think it's so important to just not look for those excuses during those times. And I know I talk a lot about excuses, but it's just so true. Like there will be a lot of people who say, hey, I've got my daughter's dance class tonight, I can't do it. It's like, okay, how can we work around this, especially if you're busy? And, you know, once again, having kids is obviously going to be a challenge because you have to prioritize them. Don't get me wrong, but when you're able to take care of yourself, you're going to be able to take care of everybody else around you. So I thought that was a great question, and I like everything Josh added on as well.
All right, and for our third and final question of today's incredible episode, we have, I know you guys have mentioned being in business together 10 plus years. I'm starting a business with a friend and hear horror stories about having business partners. What advice do you have?
Really great question. And I mean, it's been many years, right? We started making YouTube videos 12 years ago. We signed up to, you know, help people online and registered a business. We did all those scary things like very early on. So we're 30 now. We started all this like in college, university, like around 18 or so. So, I mean, to be honest, it couldn't be better. But once again, I want to address this because it's kind of fun. Like there's a lot of stories with this. I hear a lot of people, and I wish I had a stat in front of me, like how many business partners end up going different ways, or someone gets kind of taken advantage of, and like there's fights. Like I hear it all the time, and even people close to me, like I've seen so many different things. So I'm gonna have to say my biggest piece of advice and thing that makes a big difference is just being on the same page. Like I can't stress it enough. If one person, let's just say Josh is like, you know what, let's go to conferences. I want to grow. Let's expand. And I'm sitting there like, hey, I want to go to Ibiza for the next year. And like, hey, you take care of things. Like I'll be here. Like it's not going to work. So for us, our biggest thing has been consistently being on the same page for years. We want growth. We want to create killer videos. Like we want to help so many people. Our mission is the same. And like, once again, if one person's like driven and the other person's just like, you know what, I don't want to read a book for the next like couple of years and like, I'm good, it's going to be really tough. And that's where I see a lot of businesses, they start to want different things. And even there's people who started YouTube around the same time as us. They were really close friends, very successful. One guy ended up wanting something completely different. The other person wanted growth. They went separate ways. One bought the other out. It is what it is. It happened, right? So I think that's one of the biggest things. And I see a lot of people just struggle, is like, even like one will get really greedy. And it's just, for us, it's been like, hey, we're on the same page. We're self-growth oriented. We're listening to these videos. We want the same thing for the business. And like my other additional thing is we've kept the same routines for years, right? So it would have been so easy to be like, hey, we work from home and like now we just work and make videos. So like, you know, we'll do something next week. But it's like 3 times a week, usually much more than that. We'll meet up. We'll have the same routine. We'll have the same meetings, the same schedule, the same podcasting, the same workouts. And that really helps us just like be on the same page of like focusing on growth, trying to get to that next level. And that's my honestly biggest tip, at least what's worked for us. And I know Josh probably has some stuff as well.
Yeah, I think Kyle nailed it. And I think definitely there's some luck involved too, right? I think it's hard, like some people, you'll just clash with them, if you will. But I think if there was like a secret I had to share, I think even our industry has been amazing, because even we didn't start a business together intentionally. Like I just said, hey, let's make YouTube videos for fun. Then we started reading books, just self-growth books, finance books, all these different things. And then I just thought like, hey, maybe I could turn my skill into helping more people and have that blossom into a business. And that inspired Kyle as well. And we were both in school for things that didn't inspire us, that like weren't our calling, right? And for me, even like my whole thing is I believe fitness can and should be easy. I believe everyone deserves to be fit, healthy, and happy, no matter their barriers or history. And because of that, I was able to make an amazing product that is online fitness coaching. I was able to do that with Kyle, and now we've been able to help over 5,000 people. And that's what I think is cool, even going back full circle to my quote, right? Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. I could have easily just said like, this is a waste of my time to helping other people with fitness, like sending out free routines to people in high school or taking one person to the gym. But even like if I zoomed back and like didn't even zoom out and I just looked at like my one friend that I helped lose 100 pounds in high school, like to me, that's so amazing. Like that changed his entire life. That gave him a whole new opportunity and outlook on life. And like because of that, because I didn't downplay the opportunity and success of that one change, it was awesome to see that grow into a business where we've helped over 5,000 people. We have like almost 100 million views and listens across all our platforms. Like it truly is phenomenal. And it's really great to see all of that come together. And because of that too, it's so nice. Like we live fitness, health, and happiness. Like originally our YouTube's Colossus Fitness was just about getting jacked. It was a reflection of like our early, where we were at in life. And now like it's been so focused on continuing to be fitter, healthier, and happier. And we've done that year after year, day after day. And I think that's helped us very much in alignment towards growth, towards doing like just things that are going to help us improve and do better. And also like the pull we feel just to help other people, such as yourself, above all else, whether it be just from this podcast, whether it be from our Instagram, through our coaching one-on-one. Like I just think it's such an amazing opportunity, and that's what's really driven us. Like we weren't in it for money, we weren't in it for any of these things. Like it was a passion we loved. We loved helping people, and we've just continued to follow that through the ups and downs.
Yeah, just like, especially having the same mission, like even our entire team, like we have the same thing we want to strive for. We want to help as many people as possible. Our missions stayed the exact same for many years, to help inspire, educate, motivate the fitness community and better health practices. I know it was years ago we had to make that mission statement. Josh came up with it. I'm like, man, that's such a good one. So like for us, it's just been like that. You know, we want to help people, we wanted, this is how we're going to get there. And it's just been like, hey, let's stay super focused on that. But the last thing I'll end with was like a story that I heard. It was like probably about 8 years ago. There was a YouTube channel. It was Chris Jones. He was filming with this guy named Vince. Now, they both started to see success. They both bought like nice Mercedes. And I just remember two lessons I learned from that. Like, one thing was that Vince guy, apparently, like they were making videos, filming, kind of talking about each other and stuff. From the sounds of it, he got pretty lazy. And that's like one thing, is just like it got tough, right? Because Chris is like, I want to grow. This other person's just kind of taking advantage. He's not doing much. And he's like, all right, well, like that's one lesson on, like, just don't be lazy. Like, you got to be growth oriented. Now, the other thing was, I noticed there was a lot of greed taking place, right? So, and that's where, to me, it's like we're all winning. Our community's winning, we're helping people. And it's like, a lot of people I see struggle with this, and it could be even like close friends that I see getting in partnerships, or like other kind of partnerships online that I've seen. It's just like, yeah, like if we're all winning, like that's the most important thing. Like, we're getting views, we're helping people. It's like I'd see some of them fight over like these little small things of just, little bits of money or whatever the case is. And it's like, to me, I'm like, I want all of us to win. I want our entire community. I want all of our families. I want everyone to win. So it's kind of just like making sure you don't go down that path of just like trying to be too greedy or like nitpick little small things that someone does. It's just like, at the end of the day, like to me, it's just important. You show up, you have the same vision, and you keep showing up every single day. So yeah, that's kind of that for that question. I thought that was a really fun one, and we're not going anywhere. We're gonna keep showing up: YouTube, Instagram, podcast, all that great stuff. But if you made it to the end of this episode, you're obviously a very valid listener. We really appreciate you. Message us skinny fat to Instagram to get guaranteed results. And if you could share this episode anywhere, whether it's with a friend, a family member, on your Instagram, even just one listener will help us so much, because it'll not only impact them, but it'll help us grow this channel, grow the YouTube, grow the podcast, and we appreciate you all. So we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for chilling with us.